So today I am reviewing the KORG KR Mini drum machine. It is a basic, probably the most basic drum machine that's on the market right now, and perhaps the least inexpensive as well. But what makes this different than most drum machines and what makes it really cool is the onboard speaker. So with this onboard speaker, it really targets another kind of customer. I believe that perhaps the target customer for this little drum machine would be an acoustic player, a keyboard player, perhaps even a bass player, or just someone wanting to practice with something in time rather than the standard click-click drum machine. But the question is this a viable and practical purchase for today's musician? Well, let's talk about that, and you decide. So let's talk about the build quality. I've had this KR Mini several years now, and in full disclosure, I still don't know how to do all the programming, and I will not be going over in-depth programming today on this video. This is basically just a review and factory demo. There are tutorials online that goes over the programming, and I suggest, and I may even link a few below, but I do suggest to get the full use out of the KORG Mini. I do suggest that you learn the programming. It does open up a whole nother world of features. But today we're going to talk about, in this section, we're going to talk about the build quality. And it is made of plastic. It's hard plastic. It has rubber push buttons and plastic knobs, which are, they're not real loose. They're semi-tight. They won't fall out of place on their own. The inputs and outputs are of normal quality. They feel nice and tight in there. Again, I've used this for the last several years now, and I've never had a problem with my ins and outs or my power button. The most commonly used output is the aux out, or I'm sorry, the line out, and you can hook up your powered monitors, or you can take it actually to a board through a DI box. I've actually done that. I've actually recorded with this, and I'll play a few samples of how it sounds in the mix later. But this is the one that I use the most, and it's not loose, it's tight, it feels good. So I would give the build quality a solid 8 out of 10. So now let's look at the pros. Let's look at the benefits. Let's look at the pros of the KR Mini. First off is my favorite, probably. I don't know. I'm kind of partial to this. I really like this machine, but one of my favorites is its portability. 3 AAA batteries. It runs on 3 AAA batteries, and let me tell you, these batteries last forever. I don't know I can't remember the last time I replaced these batteries. I don't use it daily, but I use it a lot. And when I do use it, I use it at maybe 30 minutes at a time, just to go over a song, or just to practice staying in time, or just simply just messing around with it. I mean, it's a fun machine. So the batteries are definitely one of my favorites, and it's hidden back here in the back by this little door, as you can see. So 3 AAA batteries, definitely a game changer. There's nothing I hate worse than just wanting to practice and having 100 chords at my feet. I just hate that, having headphones run out, you know, two pedals in, and I just don't want to deal with it. When I want to practice, I don't have a lot of time, so I just want to get down to business and practice. So the batteries are a huge benefit to me. The second is the onboard speaker. So, you know what? I don't have to hook up anything. I don't have to run headphones. I don't have to go into a DAW. I don't have to go into my interface. I can just simply lay it on the table, on the ground, on the couch, wherever, and hit play and start jamming, start practicing. So the benefit of the speaker to me is huge. And I think that's what sets us apart from most drum machines on the market. In fact, I don't know of any other drum machine that has an onboard speaker. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Let me know, because if there is one out there, I would like to get it and review it and practice with it. But as of right now, the KORG KR Mini is my go-to for portability, for just simple drum machine, just simple drum beats, variable tempos. You know, if I can start off slow, if I'm running an arpeggio and arpeggiated lick, I can start slow and just keep turning the tempo up as my muscle memory increases. So it's for portability. This is the one to get. To my knowledge, this is the only one to get. Mini, you have two programmable inputs, and the way I use these programmable inputs is one is a start and stop, and two is a fill. Now you can have these programmed to pretty much any way that you want: fill one, fill two, start, stop, fill one. So even at minimum, if you just want to get a foot pedal, which I will recommend one later in the video, which ones that I use, and even link them below. You can program this thing any way that you like. And to me, the flexibility, along with the batteries and the speaker, is hands down a winner for portability. But yeah, the pros and the benefits to this is definitely the inputs, the speaker, and the batteries. And you know, it just simplifies things. You know, when I'm wanting to practice, I don't want to drag out a bunch of chords. I don't want to drag out you know, a whole rig. I just want to sit down and practice, or even writing songs. You know, I probably wrote more songs with this than anything. Basically, I have an idea. I've been hearing it in my head all day, and I come home and I find a drum beat, and the song almost just writes itself, to be honest with you. For me, a drum beat behind a new song is the beginning. And this is where the portability, this is where this comes in. And you can even record off this. You know, you can take your line out right there and run it straight into your DAW, and you can lay down a drum beat. And of course, you would have to go back and edit it. You'd have to EQ it, compress it, limit it, you know, all that good stuff. But it can be done. And you know what? At the time of this recording, I think this is $79. I'll link it below. And again, guys, for under $100, you can't go wrong. So let's look at the cons now. So let's talk about the cons. The biggest con to this pedal is the programming, hands down. It's the worst programming I think I've ever seen. It's just way more difficult than it should be. Now, if you learn the programming, it opens up a whole nother benefit. If the programming was easy, it would be in the pro section, because it would open up a whole different aspect of this drum machine. But it's just so difficult. I just get bored with it. I don't have a lot of time to sit down and learn the programming. There are tutorials online on YouTube that does a pretty decent job of getting you in the neighborhood. I don't think there's anything specific that goes over the programming. And to be honest with you, KORG should have thought that out a little bit better, in my opinion. So, I would say that just be aware that if you don't have a lot of time or you're not really tech savvy, that the programming could be an issue. And the second one would be the tempo is not quantized. It's just at random. Let me play you real quick the tempo and show you. This light here counts the beat. The yellow, the green light is the 2, 3, and 4, and the red light is the 1. So I do have a trick that I use to get in the neighborhood. So what I'll do is I have a metronome app on my phone, and I will, as this is playing, I will just tap it out on the phone. And that'll get you in the neighborhood for practice, but again, you know, it's not, I mean, I always come up like 120.2, 110.5. You know, I always come up with divided beats, and you know, if I'm playing a song at 120, if I want to record it at 120, it's just easier in your DAW if it's just 120.0. So for me, you know, the tempo is a pretty big con. But I will say this: there's only 2 cons that I can think about on this machine, and that's not bad for a sub $100 drum machine. The programming you could actually do without, you know, if you just use the standard factory program beats. But the tempo is a pretty big deal. You know, if you're recording, if you're just practicing, then, you know, you can get in the neighborhood. But if you're recording, the tempo is a pretty big deal. So let's get into it and look at the sounds of this machine. So we're going to start with the 8th beat setting, number 1, and we're going to have the tempo at 12 o'clock. And these are your bars. So within every category, within the 8 beat, you have 6 different beats. So 1, 1, fill 2. So 16th beat. And as you can tell, fill 2 is an extended fill, where fill 1 is just a small fill, short fill. Let's go to metal. I do like that double bass. Let's look at the pop. This is going to be the R&B section. This is going to be the jazz section. This is going to be the Latin section. Let me say something about the Latin section. I do like the percussive sounds of 4 and 5, and I use those a lot with my acoustic guitar as I'm playing. It doesn't really sound like a full drum set, but it just gives you some percussion in the background, which is really nice. It adds a lot to an acoustic set. So let's look at the dance section. And the user section. And here we are with the pedal hooked up. I do recommend this pedal. I will have a link below and you can find them on Amazon, I think, for $20. This is a great pedal. It stays in place. It's weighted, and I highly recommend this pedal. Let's look at the pedal in action. So as you can see, you can push the pedal on beat 1, 2, or 3, but it's not going to feel until the last beat, until it transitions to the 1. On fill 1, you can push it, I think, on beat 1 and 2, and I think beat 3 and 4 is the fill. But on some of these categories, mainly on the rock and the metal, fill number 2 is, I think, a 3-beat fill, where fill number 1 is maybe just a 1, sometimes a 2-beat fill. So you'll just have to get used to that. You'll just have to be aware of what setting you're using, because you don't want to get lost, especially if you're on stage or you're recording something. You certainly need to be familiar with how the fills work and how many beats the fills actually fill in. So that's it for the sound test, guys. Let's get my final thoughts on this in the next section. So my final thoughts. What are my final thoughts on this? Well, I think you should know by now, I'm very fond of this. Even with its limitations and even with its programming difficulties, it's a great drum machine. For a sub $100 portable drum machine, I would say get it. You can get it, and if you don't like it, most places have a 30-day return policy. I'm the type of guy that if they're going to give me 30 days to return it, then I'm going to use it. So, I buy a lot of equipment that I do like, and I buy a lot of equipment that I don't like. And if I don't like it, I send it back within the 30 days, and I either get a credit or I trade it for something that I want to try out within whatever category I'm getting. For instance, drum machines, my next one will be the Beat Buddy. I do want to try that out. I want to see how it compares to this. I know it's probably 3 times the cost, but I hear just through musicians out in the field there that it sounds way better. I mean, these sounds aren't bad. They're not good. I mean, as far as they're not realistic right out of the box. You will have to probably compress and EQ and limit if you're going to use them to record with. But to me, that's kind of the fun part. Again, what I don't like is the tempo. We were at 141 beats per minute in the sound demo. As it was playing, I was tapping my metronome app, and we were at 141 beats per minute. So, to get it down to 140, I don't know if I could turn it, precisely to that. So, if you're looking for 140 beat per minute in the neighborhood, then you're going to be at 12 o'clock. So I would say probably 10 o'clock would be around your 120, 115 to 125, I would say. But yeah, we've already gone over that in the con section, I just wanted to review this to give you guys kind of an idea because, for some people, just the price alone will run them off. And, for me, the speaker and, again, the portability, the batteries, is a huge selling point. So, it does have its pros, it does have its cons. You just have to decide for yourself if this machine's for you. I will be playing, before we sign off, I will be playing what this sounds like in the mix. I'll pipe in another song. I'll pipe in a song here on the outro, and just know that the song that's being played, is recorded with this KR Mini, but it has been, in full disclosure, it has been EQ'd and it has been compressed to sound a little bit better. So let me know what you think in the comments. If you have any questions or just any thoughts about this, if you have one and you want to add something that I forgot, feel free. I love talking about instruments. That's why I review these things. It's fun for me to get a new piece of gear and review it and kind of let you know, you guys know what my thoughts are, because I don't review anything that I haven't had for a while. I do kind of try to play around with it and learn it to the best of my ability, and then I just try to pass it on to you guys. It's fun for me. These reviews are just as much for me as they are for you. So let me know what you think in the comments. I do have some other reviews coming out, so be sure and subscribe and hit the bell and be notified. And if you have any questions or if you have any comments, just leave them below. I'll see you next time.